All right, let's just jump right into a question that sounds like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood disaster movie. But what's really cool is that it's actually based on some seriously fascinating science.
I mean, seriously, just stop and picture that for a second. Our entire planet, our home, just doing a slow-motion somersault through space. The North Pole becomes the South Pole, Australia ends up where Canada is. It feels completely impossible, right?
And yeah, your first gut reaction is probably, no way, that's impossible. And you know what? If you're thinking of a sudden, dramatic flip overnight, you're absolutely right. But as we're about to find out, our planet's incredibly long and wild history has a version of this story that is, believe it or not, stranger than fiction.
So let's talk about the real science behind this idea of a planetary flip. It's not some sudden, violent event. It's a slow, massive rebalancing act that scientists have a pretty cool name for.
It's called true polar wander. And the key thing to get here is that it's not the entire planet flipping over like a pancake. Instead, try to imagine the Earth's outer shell, the crust and the mantle that we live on, as kind of a loose skin. This skin is actually slipping and sliding around the planet's liquid outer core, so the whole surface of the Earth literally reorients itself.
Which leads to the next logical question, doesn't it? Why? What on Earth could possibly be heavy enough to make the entire surface of the planet shift? What could throw our world so out of whack that it needs to physically readjust itself like this? Well, the answer actually comes down to a really simple analogy, something that makes this whole complicated process make a ton of sense. All you have to do is think about a simple spinning top. So you know how a spinning top spins most smoothly when it's balanced? Our planet is exactly the same way. It's most stable when its mass is spread out evenly. Physics just prefers it that way. The heaviest parts, the bulges, they want to be lined up with the equator. That's the most stable, energy-efficient way for the Earth to be.
Okay, so what happens when that balance gets thrown off? Let's say a huge mass builds up somewhere it's not supposed to be, like a gigantic volcanic plateau or a new supercontinent forming far away from the equator. That's like sticking a big wad of chewing gum on the side of our spinning top. Suddenly, it starts to wobble. To fix this, the Earth's crust and mantle start to slowly, so slowly, rotate, dragging that extra weight down toward the equator until everything is balanced and stable again.
And I really have to stress how slow we're talking here. This is not a violent lurch. It's a movement of maybe a few meters a year. For perspective, that's about how fast your fingernails grow. It would happen over millions and millions of years. You would never ever feel it.
But, and this is a big but, just because it's slow doesn't mean the consequences aren't absolutely gigantic. Over geologic time, this gradual shift would completely rewrite the face of the Earth in some pretty mind-blowing ways. This really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Imagine a place we know as a hot, steamy, tropical rainforest like the Amazon. In a polar wander event, it could slowly drift toward one of the poles and over millions of years become a completely barren, frozen tundra. It's a total environmental flip. And a geographic shift like that would kick off a massive domino effect. The planet's huge climate engines, the ocean currents and wind systems, they'd be completely rerouted. Global climate patterns would be unrecognizable. You could see deserts turning into forests and forests drying up into deserts. And for all the life on Earth, it's a huge test. You either migrate, you adapt, or you go extinct. And just think about what this would mean for us, for humanity. Our entire civilization is built around stable climates for growing food. A true polar wander event would turn all of that on its head. Can you imagine farmers in Canada growing bananas while Brazil becomes a major wheat producer? It would fundamentally change everything we know about our world. Now, as catastrophic as all this sounds, it's really important to remember that our planet has been through some incredible changes before. And the big takeaway here is that life adapts. It survived asteroid impacts, massive ice ages. Life always finds a way. So a true polar wander event would absolutely reshape the world, but it wouldn't necessarily be the end of it.
So, okay, this is a pretty mind-bending theory. But is that all it is? A theory? Is there any actual proof that our planet has really done this slow-motion somersault in the past?
And the answer is a resounding yes. By looking at the magnetic signatures that get trapped in ancient rocks, scientists have found pretty solid evidence that the last major true polar wander event happened about 84 million years ago. We're talking near the end of the age of dinosaurs. And this isn't some fringe idea either. There's a really strong consensus among scientists that this kind of thing has happened multiple times throughout Earth's long history.
It was probably tied to the formation and breakup of those giant supercontinents, which would have created exactly the kind of massive weight imbalance needed to get the whole process started.
Which, of course, brings us to the one big, final question that's probably been on your mind this whole time. We know it happened before, so could it happen again?
And you can relax. The clear answer is no, not anytime in the foreseeable future. The reason is that right now, our planet's continents are spread out pretty evenly across the globe. There isn't a single huge concentration of weight sitting way off from the equator that could throw our planet off balance. So for now, our world is nice and stable.
So, while a planetary flip isn't something we need to worry about, just knowing that it's possible is such a powerful reminder of how dynamic and alive our planet truly is. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible secrets is our world hiding, right beneath our feet?